Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Ryan Ascension. Today, I want to talk about the human ascension process. So, what is the human ascension? How does it affect you? Also, want to talk about the overall goals and outcomes of the collective and individual human ascension process. So, in this context, the human ascension I'm referencing in this context that it is your personal spiritual evolution, as well as can be viewed as human collective ascension. And we are, as a collective, moving into new territory, so to speak. It's actually the first time that this has occurred on the earth plane in the history of Earth. And it has occurred for many reasons. There is actually a lot of involvement by extraterrestrial groups, divine beings, angelic realms that operate under the cosmic law, okay, which cosmic law states that you cannot interfere with another species' evolution due to the bondage and the manipulation and what have you that we've been in, and the fact that we have been collectively spiritually regressing. Okay, we're always supposed to be progressing. We've been regressing in the recent decades and in years and so on and so forth. That they intervened, and they're helping us with this. They're sending energy. It's already here, but they continually send this divine energy. This energy is very high vibrational, and it will can disrupt. Not that that's a terrible thing, but it can cause ascension symptoms. I've talked about that in some of my other videos. Some are undesirable, but just keep in mind of what's actually going on with these energies is that our bodies are changing on a cellular and DNA level. So for the first time in history, these energies and this ascension ability is available to anyone who wants it and is willing to step into that and move forward. Additionally, I want to make sure everybody understands who's listening to this that even if you don't want the ascension, and I don't like to put it like this, but it is truth, we don't have a choice. So at some point, you're going to recognize it. You might call it spiritual evolution, or it might be under other names, but we're being literally forced to, due to our regression and other things, to ascend. We collectively, as humans, we have to keep in mind we're all interconnected with other beings, extraterrestrials, divine realms. And with that said, by us regressing in our spirituality and not ascending, we are in effect hurting the whole. Okay, the human race is just a tiny little it's a tiny little planet, and there's so much else going on out there. The more I learn about it, the more I realize I don't know anything about it. I mean, it's just so expansive, so intense, and so exciting and awesome. So I don't want you to look at it, being forced into ascension, yes, but that's why we're here to help. There's a lot of us that are doing videos on this and really making our contributions to the best of our ability. We may not be perfect. I don't ever personally plan to be perfect with anything, but we're getting the message out there because it needs to be known. Okay, so we talked about what the ascension energies is, the very high vibrational energies that are here, divine energies of love and light. And it literally, your body is energy. So with the energies that are here and the energies that continue to come in, you are in direct contact, in direct connection. There isn't a separation between you and these divine energies. So with that said, you're going to experience some ascension symptoms, heart palpitations, tinnitus. You might get really dizzy. You might get really tired, and you say, oh, how did I get tired? I eat super clean, and I exercise all the time, and I got all this energy. That's part of the ascension process due to the fact that our bodies are changing on a cellular and a DNA level. So it's exciting stuff, and it's really important for us to be talking about this right now because things are going to continue to accelerate over the next weeks and months and years, and there really isn't an end to it. So if you are, a religious person, if you want to look at an ascension, if you look at, for example, Jesus Christ was ascended to the sixth dimension, so he went from 3 all the way up to 6 and higher in some circumstances, because we are multi-dimensional beings, and we do have the ability to jump dimensions or go back down in dimensions and what have you. So, and Jesus Christ wasn't the only one to do it in a huge way. Krishna, Buddha, there were many, many others that we don't even know some of their names. And I don't want to look at it from a historical perspective, just simply a historical in the sense that, it's only, it only it happened thousands of years ago, or whatever. It happens. People ascend, and a lot of people just haven't talked about it, and they're just doing their thing with it. But now, since we are all being required, is the proper terminology for this, we're all being required to ascend, okay? It's important, again, for us to get this message out to as many people as possible. So I want to talk a little bit about what happens with Ascension. Usually, because jump back a second, we have been living in third dimensional consciousness for eons, and it is a fear-based, a very structured, very fear-based state of living that is very concentrated on survival, fight or flight, making money from a 9 to 5. I think you'd see where I'm going. So it's been very, very structured, and the higher you go in dimensions, you pop up to 4 and 5 or even higher, they flow naturally. You'll develop ability to feel things. You'll develop extensive psychic abilities. All of a sudden you can run 5, 6, 7 miles, whereas once before you were only able to run maybe a mile or two, and do that at a very rapid progressive pace, not over the course of years or even months, but over the course of a couple of weeks or so. I mean, it's really impressive. So it's changing our body in many, many ways. Our bodies are in alignment with these energies. They're absorbing them right as we speak. My body's doing the same thing, as is yours, whether you are aware of it or not. So I want to talk about this a little bit in detail, because I've done a video about it called Ascension Tips and Tricks, but not everybody sees every one of my videos, so I want to make sure you understand what's going on and how I can help you with this. The most important things during your ascension and your spiritual evolution that you need to focus on most initially are physical. So you want to switch to a primarily, again, you might crave meat. That's happened to me in the ascension. So I thought I was all plant-based until I had this strong craving 5-6 months in the plant-based for meat. My body needed it. It's part of the ascension. Doesn't need it all the time, but sometimes I didn't know this before, but I learned that it does need it, okay? So organic plant-based diet as a primary, clean fresh water, drink 1.5 and now even 2 times what you normally intake. And the reason for the water, our bodies are 70% water. And these energies that are here and are continually being poured in to Earth at the present moment will absolutely burn up the energy in and in between your cells. So you'll get dehydrated really, really fast. So you want to make sure you're constantly consuming good, clean water. Also exercise. Again, our bodies are changing on a cellular and DNA level. You need to exercise even, moderately, because sometimes I go for 6 or 7 days a week, and then I back off for 3, 4, 5 days at a time, or I might go 5 days a week. I'm flowing with it is what I'm trying to communicate to you. I am flowing with it instead of being regimented with exercise. I am going by what my body needs and how I feel, okay? Because it's really important to take that approach with the ascension. Is this food resonating with me? How does it make me feel? What are you craving? Are you craving oranges? Are you craving apples? Are you craving a burger? Listen to what your body is telling you. So again, from physicality perspective, Super important to focus on a primarily organic based, plant-based diet. It is high vibrational foods and matches the high vibrational energies that are here and that are continuing to come in. So it will help your body easily adjust to these energies, and it will help you ascend. Exercise, extremely important. It helps your body maintain, obviously, its physical shape. Our bodies are changing into a crystalline structure, okay? I guess you could compare it to a vehicle, and in which, vehicle was, made out of steel, and the new crystalline bodies are carbon fiber. Now, what I mean by that is it's just a lighter body. It's more energy. You become much, much more youthful. You become happier during this process most of the time, unless you're having some ascension symptoms. All right, so those are the three primary. Some other things you need to be doing if you're focused and really want to move forward rapidly with the ascension and your own personal human ascension is to get out in nature and ground as much as possible. Don't push it, but get out as much as you can. And two other things I want to focus on that are really important. Listen to music that you enjoy and meditative music that operates on the theta state brainwave, which some music would be, that type of music would be in the 432 megahertz. You can have it as a backdrop. It will help keep you calm and help you ascend, help you get into those higher dimensions, including 5, 6, and beyond. So the overall focus and goal of the collective human ascension is to drop out of third dimensional consciousness and have the masses in fifth dimensional consciousness. And fifth dimensional consciousness is an absolutely beautiful place to be. I personally have experience with it. I didn't know anything about it. I felt so good for several days, and I went from 4 to 5. It was pure bliss, is what they say. It's heaven on earth. Nothing external can affect you at your core. Nothing external can bother you in any way. You see the good in everything. Everything's more beautiful. Things come to you very easily. Things come to you, and what you need and what you want just kind of comes into your life with essentially no effort. It's just kind of flowing with things. It's a different state of being. It is absolutely awesome, and I didn't know it at the time, but I only resonated in that dimension for, I think it was like 2 to 4 days, something like that. And when I dropped back down to 4, I was really disappointed. Although 4 is a beautiful place to be, but 4, the way to look at fourth dimensional reality or consciousness is that it essentially is a bridge between 3 and 5. Okay, so it's kind of that process of shifting from 3 to 5, and the reason you go back down is because there are things that you need to be working on. Usually, in some cases, have to do with physicality. So if you're eating bad foods, or you're addicted to tobacco, or you're doing drugs or alcohol or something like that, or even emotional traumas and things of that nature, where you go back down to work through those, because you have to master each dimension. So if you drop back down to 3, once you've been in 5 again, you're like, man. I mean, you look at third dimensional consciousness and you just think to yourself, there is no way in hell I want to be in anything to do with third dimensional consciousness. There is a much more beautiful place to be, and we can do it right here, right now on planet Earth. So I would encourage each and every one of you to do your own research, look into higher consciousness, accelerated consciousness, fifth dimensional consciousness, human ascension, spirituality, and the list goes on and on and on. So as way showers, and there are many, many of us, we're kind of the first to go into the higher consciousness, the 5D, 6D, and beyond. But the goal is, again, fifth dimensional consciousness on the earth plane, and it's all energetic. Everything that I'm talking about has to do with energetic components and energy in general, and it is very, very exciting. So something that I want to talk about. We are headed on Earth. I know I don't watch the news anymore. I don't pay attention to negative stuff and it's interesting that really nothing negative happens to me. Uh, or at least that I don't perceive it any longer as negative. Maybe that's a different way of looking at it. But things happen for me. They don't happen to me. So with that said, and with that analogy, have an understanding that these energies there's nothing distant. A lot of people think of, for example, enlightenment. And they say, well, if I obtain enlightenment, you're not here, and enlightenment is not up here. Enlightenment is right here. You already have it. So the key is the belief that you have it, and you will have it. If you want to be enlightened, you can use I am affirmations or whatever you'd like to use to literally trick your subconscious into have a knowing that this is the actual reality of the situation, and you become that person. You can become anybody you want in this lifetime. You can be anybody you want in this lifetime, and with that, you just have to believe it, and more importantly, due to continual belief in yourself and what it is you want, you will then have that. You will have a knowing. You might not always know when, but you'll know that it's coming, okay? And with jobs and businesses, things happen. It can happen very, very, very quickly. So it's very cool. It's very, very exciting. I feel honored to have the opportunity to talk to each and every one of you here today about this. And hey, if you've got some comments, go ahead and drop a comment. I am available and happy to answer any questions that you have. So you have to look at the human ascension as dimensional consciousness. So we are elevating our consciousness, and in doing so, we are elevating the health of our bodies as well. We've been informed by divine beings, and I hope you're excited as I am. But the elderly, when ascended, or people who are older when ascended, for example, will look and feel much, much younger. The cure for quote-unquote mental, there will be no more mental illness, no more cancer. Your body actually has the ability to, when trained properly and having that belief and knowing, to cure its own, with nothing external, cure its own ailments, including some pretty severe types of diseases, which is absolutely phenomenal. But it becomes easier and easier to do these things when you are ascended, at least into the high 4 dimension, or even beyond that. I would love and will love to see what the 6th dimensional consciousness is like. In 5th dimensional consciousness, through your ascension, is when you begin to develop supernatural powers, okay? Once you have these abilities, they don't go away. I mean, you always have them. You might have had a hunch about something or had some level of psychic ability. Well, as you go up and climb that ladder of ascension in a higher consciousness, those become extremely amplified. And I want to give you a story about that. If you read in the Bible, for example, how Jesus was an ascended master, how he fed so many people with a loaf of bread. Well, I think it was 5,000 people, I think, or what have you. Don't know the exact, so please don't hold me to that. But it was something like, in 6th dimensional consciousness, you literally have the ability to collapse the quantum field, okay? Meaning you can manifest matter through thought, which sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, and it kind of is. For example, the extraterrestrials don't have a steering wheel in their vehicles. They don't have a whole bunch of buttons. They're consciously driven and operated vehicles. And we in society are headed in that direction technologically with automobiles. There will be a point in time, you can mark my words, there will be a point in time when we operate our motor vehicles through our minds, through our consciousness. So that's very, very cool. But again, you get to the 6th dimension or higher, you can manifest whatever it is that you would like to manifest and see in your life, not just through thought or whether that's somebody else or a wonderful job, whatever, but through actually physically able to manifest it. It's a whole other ball game. I personally have not been in the sixth dimension. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to get there. I hope you're as excited as I am. But for now, my focus is on resonating more often in fifth dimensional consciousness. That's really where I am, where I want to be. And again, then you drop back out to 4. It can be disappointing, but just know when that happens, because it feels bad. It doesn't feel as good. And that's how you'll know, primarily. When that happens, you simply want to recognize that it's like being asked by God or what have you to go work on yourself, because you can't take, through your ascension, you cannot take old emotional baggage, I should say, and traumas and addictions and all that stuff. You can't take it in the fifth dimensional consciousness and higher and hold that frequency. It's not possible. So with the ascension, I want to let you know that it is a lot of work, okay? It can be easy at times, but at other times is very difficult. I personally have acknowledged it and been working very, very hard on it for the last 7 or 8 months or so, and I'm very appreciative. I have literally become the man that I was intended to be, thank you to the spirituality and the ascension process, and I wouldn't take it back for the world, although there are some things that occurred during that process in which, you know, I look back, I'm like, or when I was going through it, I'm like, man, if I'm ascending, this spirituality thing is so great, why do I have to go through this? Like, this is terrible. And just understand again that things don't happen to you, things are happening for you, although initially it appears that it is a negative thing is happening to you. In actuality, some negative things occur that so you can line up with your life. You can line up with, you know, what it is that you want and what it is that you desire. So again, check out the Schumann resonance. I haven't looked today. I'm not sure where it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's high. And drink a lot of water, a lot of plant-based organic food, exercise. You don't need to do it every day, but make sure you exercise. And meditate, listen to 432 megahertz music. Anywhere from 40 hertz to 100 hertz, that type of music is going to help you ascend. And we can all at some point resonate in fifth dimensional consciousness and higher. In fifth dimensional consciousness and up, there is no war, there is no violence, there isn't any, no one would ever want to harm anybody else or manipulate anybody else in any way. It is pure love. It is very hard to describe in words because it is what it is. It's ascension, higher, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. It is, through your ascension, it is higher consciousness, and the higher you go, the more love you have for yourself, and the more love and the more you can contribute to others. So with that said, work on your ascension. If you have any questions, just shoot me a comment. I'm happy to answer for you. Please like, subscribe, and share. Take care. Bye-bye.